And then you landed in this particular place where you have this deep, deep relationship with the Divine Mother, and music also came out of that. You were not a musically inclined person before this whole relationship opened up in your life. And the songs that have been coming through you have been part of that experience. So give us the background. How did this happen that you came into this relationship?
Sure. Well, it's interesting because when I was young, I really didn't have much of an interest in spirituality. I wasn't someone who had, ecstatic experiences or felt that there was anything special in my relationship to nature or to the spirit. And I actually, as a teenager, I really had lost any interest in my Judaism. I just felt there was a very strong, paternalistic orientation to Judaism where I grew up. And it just really turned me off. And I didn't feel like it was a place where I could connect easily. And when I went to college in my 20s, I started getting interested again in spirit, but it had nothing to do with where I came from. So, I started doing meditation, and I met a Sufi teacher, which is the mystical tradition of Islam. And I realized out of nowhere that I began to experience expanded states of consciousness that I never realized were available. And it was shocking to me because before that, I would walk down the streets of New York where I was living, and I'd walk by the East-West bookstore, and I'd like, turn my nose up at it, literally, like, who are these people? What's this East-West bookstore stuff? But very quickly, I became a believer because I was just shocked at the peace that would come from doing these different meditations. And I also started to study yoga at that time with Dharma Mitra, who was a wonderful man. He still teaches in New York. He's in his 80s. But even though I, had started on a spiritual journey at that time, I still, that pain in my heart, that wound that was there, even though it would be appeased and softened for a time with meditation or with these expanded states, it would come back, and there'd be sadness and there'd be depression to some degree. And in 1995, I went to India, and I had an experience there where I went to an ashram where they were having a worship of Krishna's birthday. Even though Krishna is a male, there's a lot of feminine energy related to Krishna, and just the lovingness of Krishna, and the baby Krishna especially. And at this place that I went, they had at this ashram, they had a little baby Krishna, just like a baby Jesus, in a little manger that was there. And on Krishna's birthday, what you would do is you would go up to the little manger and rock the little baby in the cradle. And I thought, oh, this is really cute. It's a way of connecting the children to how to feel and experience love, because they'd send all the children up and they would rock the baby Krishna in the cradle. And the adults would also do it too. And I went up to this this little cradle with the baby Krishna and rocked the cradle. And I thought, okay, I did my first thing in India. Now on to some better things, because I was going to go and sit with some well-known gurus and things, Papaji, and visit these tombs of saints and things like that. But it was like, okay, I did my first thing, and I left. Well, for the next couple of years, I continued to practice my spiritual practices. And in 2001, I was at a retreat, a meditation retreat through the Diamond Heart work that I was doing. And the last night of the retreat, they had a dance party. And the dance party played everything from classical music to, to Nine Inch Nails and punk kinds of things to Krishna Das. And the last song of the night that they played was one of Krishna Das's Hare Krishna songs that he was singing, the Maha Meltdown, he calls it. And that night happened to also be the eve of my birthday, that when I went to bed that night into the morning, it was going to be my birthday. And so in the middle of the night, I was asleep and I woke up, and all of a sudden I had this implosion of my consciousness that took me back to this place where I was 5 years before and had not thought of in those 5 years, where I was standing in front of the baby Krishna. And I was rocking the baby Krishna. And I realized that I was the baby Krishna. And in that moment when I was back there, I was offering that love to myself. And I realized that we're all the baby Krishna and we're all, awake, and that I didn't need anyone to rock my cradle anymore. And I was free. And from that moment forward, I started having these spiritual visions happen. The baby Krishna, and sometimes in other meditations of other deities. And at the time I was practicing medicine full time. I was married at the time. I had all kinds of other obligations. And I was having these visions happen to me where like this blueness would come into this field, and I'm starting to see these deities. It wasn't exactly like, a painting of a deity, but it was like, I being showered in light and gold and things like this. And I was concerned that possibly I was having mental illness begin to happen because it was just something that was so out of what my normal experience was. And these things would be there. They'd come and go, but they would come with some kind of regularity. But I didn't really appreciate that tradition of the symbols and the archetypes. When I'd go to a yoga class and things like that, I might do the chant, or I'd see like Hanuman, he's some monkey on the wall, and people are praying to him. Like I just could not relate to the power of these archetypes or these symbols. And even though I would sing chants and things like that, and I would sometimes experience, I'd experience the bliss or the expanded states that would come with it, I just take it seriously, especially because I was like very much into non-dualism, that the emptiness is really the place to be, and that anything that is outside of dreamless sleep is not real. So I'd be having these visions and I'd be like, okay, I'm having visions of Krishna and I'm feeling all this love, but I really want to experience the emptiness, because that's really where, the lack of that there'll be no suffering, and that, it's outside of this phenomenal world. Well, in the next few years, I was able to, I was gifted with the ability to rest in this non-duality. So that even though my personality would go through different emotions and states, I could always experience at the core this emptiness of no one being there, which is here till this day. It's a very strange thing, to be no one, but we're all no one at our core, right? Everything on top of that is this conditioning. And after that, even again, I just didn't have this strong connection with deities and things like that, even though I was still having experiences of them. And in 2009, I took a trip to India. It was going to places. I'd been to India a number of times in between since then, but this time it was going up to Gumuk, which is the source of the Ganges. And the Ganges River is considered a mother, is considered a woman, Ma Ganga. And it was a part of India that I didn't really want to travel by myself because I didn't know, my way through the Himalayas or anything like that. And so I went with a group, and all kinds of interesting things started happening to me on that trip. Like there was this group of women singing spiritual songs at this temple in a town called Uttar Kashi, which means upper Kashi. Kashi is the name of Varanasi. Kashi is the name of the Divine Mother. And so this is the upper Kashi, while Varanasi, the holy city where if you die, you don't have to return for any karma. And I was invited to sing these songs with these women, these Indian women who were there in this whole group. And it was just, that's really interesting. Like, what's going on here with the mother? And then in that same temple that I was at, a sadhu came up to me, and I was wearing a bracelet at the time, just a simple bracelet. And he came up and he tapped me on the wrist and he said, Yantra, Yantra, because there was an image on my bracelet of something. And he then pointed me to this amulet that he had, which was a yantra. And it was a yantra of the Divine Mother. And he gave me this yantra. And in India, you never know what's going on. Like I didn't know if he just wanted $20 for this yantra, or if he was playing a sadhu, or if he was really a sadhu, because India is the ultimate trickster like that. You have the highest of the highest of the high, and right next to that you have the lowest of the lowest of the low. But I took this this amulet that he gave me, And I'm telling the story just a little bit different than I'd told it before, but when I had come to India on that trip, in the hotel that I had stayed before we went on our trip, I had walked past a store that had silk jackets that were, Nehru jackets with these beautiful paisley patterns on them. And I stopped and looked at them. I said, like, wow, these jackets are just wild, but I'd never wear anything like that. So I went to bed that night. And the next morning I got up in my black t-shirt and jeans and things like that. And I was leaving the place to get a train, which was going to take me to the meeting place for this journey that I just started telling you about. And I just took the name down to the tailor. I said, I don't know why, but I'm just going to take the name of the tailor's place down. And so as I'm having these experiences of the Divine Mother and the feminine there, not really knowing what they were, because I didn't have any connection really to the mother at that point, or so I thought, I decided near the end of the trip that I'm going to call that guy and have him make a jacket for me. And so I called him up. I had like 48 hours before I was leaving from the time I got to Delhi. It might have even been like 36 hours. But in India, merchants are very aggressive with getting you something if you want it, because it may be, their last opportunity. So the man had me come in and he made me this jacket, and I brought it back to the States with me. And I went to another retreat right after coming back from India, which was a meditation retreat. And in this retreat, we were singing spiritual songs of all different varieties. And it was a really joyous experience. And I had asked in the group that you could receive a star in this group. It wasn't a religion, but if you wanted to show dedication to the meditations and to what was going on there, you could ask to receive a star. And it was just like a little, aluminum star or something like that. And I asked this one man, who's now a good friend, Mauricio, I said, will I be able to get a star tonight? It was my last day there. And he said, well, and I wasn't KD then or anything like that. I was just Jeff, And he said, well, I don't know, there's a bunch of people who asked to get stars tonight, but I don't know if there'll be one available for you. If there is, at the last minute, we'll call you to come up there. And so that night we were in a meditation, singing all of these spiritual songs, and my heart was just so open. And so in the middle of singing these songs, Mauricio, I couldn't see him, came behind me. I didn't know who was behind me, and tapped me on the shoulder. And immediately I went from this place of joy to this place of shame. Like I thought I had done something wrong, like the little boy, or all of us, we're little kids and we're just expressing ourselves joyously. And then someone comes up and says, don't do that, right? And you feel okay. And he tapped me on the shoulder and I turned around. I said, did I do something wrong? And he said, no, you didn't do anything wrong. We're bringing you up for your star. And so I went from this place of the lowest of the low, from this deep shame, from things that had happened to me as a child, from my own mother, or from other situations where people, had yelled at me or whatever. And I was being brought up in front of this room where 100 people were singing for me this song. And as I'm walking up there, very emotional, on the wall is a painting of a woman in red with a crown on her head, riding a rooster, which was kind of like a South American version of Saraswati or something like that, the Indian goddess who rides a swan or whatever. And I just looked at the wall and I just said in my mind, oh, that's the Virgin Mary. And I wasn't a follower of Mary or knew anything about Mary. Just like, that's the Virgin Mary. So I went up and everyone was singing and I just had this bliss experience. And when I went back and sat down, this voice started speaking to me and said, even if my own mother wasn't perfect, the Divine Mother, who's the creator of everything, loves every cell of each and every one of us, every molecule, every atom, and that it was okay if my mother wasn't perfect. And out of nowhere, these words came to me, which I could have never come up with this on my own. Again, that just said, Divine Mother, make me the husband you always wanted. And in that moment, she did. And I said, I was sitting there in this meditation and this shower of golden light of just, and out of nowhere, I couldn't have thought up these words myself, said, Divine Mother, make me the husband you always wanted. Make me the husband you always wanted. I could have never dreamed this. And in that moment, it was like all the channels opened and I just became, immersed in this golden jewel-like experience where there was no me there except for the Divine Mother's love. And I realized that this is why I bought this jacket in India. And that from that moment, I decided that to honor her and to serve her, I would dress her. And so it's been almost like 15 years now since that happened. And so every day, the jewelry that I wear, the jackets that I wear, the songs that I sing are for her. And the last thing in that meditation that night is she gave me a song. And it said, so I'm laying there in meditation, and the song says, I am marrying Maria. I am marrying Maria. Complete me, complete me, complete me. I love Maria. I love Maria. What a gift. What a gift. What a gift. I can play that.
Okay, yes, we would love to hear it. And before you do, I just want to thank you for, I think we can all feel that heart energy and your own openness and the depth of this experience and this relationship. So I just want to thank you for that. And yeah, if you'd like to share that song.
So I'll share that song right now. I am marrying Maria. I am marrying Maria. Complete me, complete me, complete me. I love Maria. I love Maria. What a gift. What a gift. What a gift. And we went into the forest and we made love by the waters. So sweetly, so sweetly, so sweetly. And she loved me with such passion. I was awed and could not speak. What a gift, what a gift, what a gift. And I came before her father, and I asked him for her hand. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. And he gave me his sweet daughter, and I melted in her love. What a gift, what a gift, what a gift. We united in the secret that was hidden and so holy, so holy, so holy, so holy. And I dive into her nature in the love of Jeramidan. What a gift, what a gift, what a gift. And we sang the song of David, the eternal hidden love song. I love you, I love you, I love you. Our hearts broken with compassion, we died into each other's arms. What a gift, what a gift, what a gift. I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit emotional here.
Beautiful. And was that the first experience you had of music coming through?
Yeah, yeah.
Can't hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeramidan, which is the love of the Virgin Mary and the Christ consciousness
So
in Brazil.
having sound problems for those of you in Zoom land. Um,
Turn this off.
I don't think it's your mic. I think it's this one. Now, what was I going to ask you? Oh, so it seems to me that this kind of experience that you had, this experience of union was, I mean, my guess is that with a divine mother and also with a feminine within yourself. And you expressed feeling a sense of wholeness or completeness. Is that, did I hear you say that?
Yes.
And and this experience then changed it changed your relationship with your own mother. Can you share some of that with us?
Yes, my mother was my more difficult parent. And she was really my difficult parent. And it was really, I had this projection on her, like so many of us do. And I don't realize, like, I had this view of my mother from when I was really young. It wasn't okay to me, she wasn't, that even though I knew that she had love for me, I just felt like, that I didn't want to be like her. And there was something about her that just, I should avoid this, right? And this is something that I carried through my childhood. into, into when I was an adult, that I had this view of her that she was not okay. And I realized that from this experience, that this was like a complete projection that I had on my mom. This view of her was something that wasn't real. And that even though she wasn't perfect, she loved me. And whatever that she did was in my best interest. Even if she didn't do it in the way that I wanted it to be done, or even if her personality was something that I didn't care for, or I didn't like, or I felt that she was pushy or overbearing or this or that, that I created this view of her that had nothing to do with really what the essence of her was. And from this experience, my heart opened to my mom in a way that it never did. I had the last 10 years of her life gift from her. I had this reunion and connection with her. And at the time that she died, I had complete peace with her. What it was in those last 10 years, it was like I felt that my role was to serve her as best as I could. And she was staying in New York at that time. My sister was caring for her. And my mom actually had an amazing last year of life where she moved to Manhattan at like 6 or something like that. And she had her favorite Dunkin' Donuts down the street that she could go to, and she'd go and eat her Nathan's hot dogs, across the corner. And she had an amazing time. You can see I have the photo with her here. She was a character, and she had this amazing last years. And for me, I realized that my role was to serve her, for this precious life that she gave me, even if there were things about her that I didn't care for. And through this experience, I was able to open up to that. And on the day she died, she really was doing okay up until like the last 2 weeks. That's when she started going into, her death process, really. And on the day she died, um, I'd gone down to see her. I was with Jody, who was not my wife at that time. She's my wife now, my lovely wife Jody, who was there. And we saw my mom, and she was kind of at a place where, we were talking to the hospice nurse who was coming. My whole family went out and had a meeting with the hospice nurse. And we came back like 15 minutes later, and the aide who was there with her said, she just passed, like in the last minute. And at that moment, I just went up and kissed her, and I had such joy because I had this peace with my mom. And I went into the bathroom because everybody else was in the room, and some people were in shock. And it was just, it's hard to be with the death of a loved one. And I went in the bathroom, and I pumped my fist and jumped up and down because I was able to have this completion with my mom at her death, which I never dreamed that I would have this. And it was all from the gift of this experience with this divine mother energy that we all have inside us. It's in the love that we have. It's in the music that we love. It's in those experiences of when we were loved, or when people were grateful to us, or in the art that moves us, or in those favorite songs from our childhood, like I was playing, the sound of music, that is hidden, that we might have forgotten, right? But it's there, and it is a portal to the transcendent. With what we have, we don't have to do anything special, just to tune in to that place where we loved something, or we felt loved. And that is a portal, that is a way.
We are going to be doing some of that tuning in as a group, moving into some meditation and chants and things like that. And this feels like a nice time to segue into that, unless there's something else you want to bring forth in terms of your background and experience.
I think we're good.
So maybe you could share another song with us that feels like in this moment wants to be shared.
Sure.
And then we will move into some meditation and chants.
Thank you. Just give me 30 seconds because I'm trying to pull myself together here. Okay. Love you, my lady, with all my heart. You are my way, and there is no other way. I love you, my lady, with all my heart. We shall never be apart. Come take my hand, love, share in my dream. Rivers of honey, sweet clouds of buttercream. We dance under moonbeams, drinking the light, bathed in the bliss of this endless starry night. We fly to the heavens, fly through the stars, soar through the seas, make love on the sandbars. I melt in you and you melt in me. Rapture and bliss under clouds on a holy sea. Oh, oh, oh. You can sing along with any of it if you want or hum. Love that's so sacred, love so divine. Wrapped in each other, drunk on holy wine. I loving you and you loving me. Feel the bliss. Oh, now our souls are free. Oh, oh, oh. We are love, we are love, we are love like the sun. Speak with our hearts the truth, yes, we all are one, and love is the way, yes, love is the way. Love is the way, and there is no other way. Oh, oh, oh. Yes, love is the way, love is the way, love is the way, and there is no other way. Love is the way, love is the way. Yo, 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 yo. Oh. And let's invite the sacred sound. It doesn't have to be an ohm, it can be your name, it can be your mother's name. Let's sing the sacred sound. The Om. I can sing to Shirley. You can sing to Maria. You can do it out loud or to yourself and hear the sacred sound, the vibration from which everything arose. From the emptiness of all, we bring the healing sacred sound. Here now. Oh, bring healing to each and every one of us, this beautiful, precious gift of life. Bring healing to all who need healing. bring peace and joy and happiness and emptiness and peace of mind here now. As we savor the silence. I believe it all came out of that, out of nothing. What a gift.
And can you tell us about the icon?
So I really love Joe. He asked me to send some images that I could possibly bring here for the ceremony, for the session. And I sent him my Elvis, Maria, my neon Maria, among all these other sacred pictures I had of the Divine Mother and things. And Joe said, "Oh, you've got to bring the glowing Virgin Mary." And it's such a beautiful thing to bring because it's so relatable, right? You know, and we were just in Portugal. I was at a retreat in Portugal where we went into some just amazing churches, from the Middle Ages, from the Renaissance, where Saint Anthony was born. We went into the church that's built above his place, and just the art is just so awe-inspiring. It's breathtaking. As is this. So whatever we have, whether it's a photo of our mother, or it's our kitten, or it's raindrops and roses and whiskers on kittens. Those favorite things, they can all be portals to this place. And that's really something that was the message from the Divine Mother, that there are no rules to spirituality. Each of us has to take our own path, our own way, like in the Holy Grail, where the knights went to where it was darkest for them. No one could take the same path. And that's a great learning, because so often we can get caught up in practices, and when we practice something, we often lose the freshness of that experience. And it's in the freshness of the daffodils that are blooming out there. When you go and when we're taking hikes near the creek near our house, like, look, those purple flowers that weren't there last week. Like, those are the portal to God, to the sacred. And it's before our eyes in every moment. We can, my way is the way of joy, is Our Lady of Joy. There's also Our Lady of Sorrows. Why not, experience the Our Lady of Joy and share that and spread that in this world?
I'd like to open it up now for questions from you all, and then maybe at the end we can do the circle of one of the songs to close out.
Sure.
So, Joe, so we'll take questions from us.
That was terrible.
We'll take questions from us here, and then there are also people on Zoom who might have questions as well that Joe can bring in. So, Michael.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Michael, and I studied something called the Kabbalah,
Yes.
Jewish mysticism. I was raised Catholic. I studied Buddhism, but in the Kabbalah they teach about Shekinah.
The Shekhinah, yes.
Shekinah is the divine God, the feminine side of God, the nice, the compassionate, the smiling side, as opposed to the thou shalt not side well, let's not go there. But anyway, Shekinah also means, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not Jewish, but dwell among us. Dwell among us is another term. for
She which
Shekinah.
dwells among us.
And so that's the feminine side of God, and I love her.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as we know, she comes in all forms, including the forms of the Shekhinah, including Kali Ma, including the Virgin Mary, including the flowers that are outside, including this PA system that's helping us do it. You know, the creation created everything, yes? It created plastic bags as well as the galaxies. It created bad jokes and dirty jokes. It was all in the potential, the potential in that singularity for everything. So when anyone says, you know, like there are things even with what's happened to me, you know, there are things that I don't believe in. Like, you know, there are certain healings or deities or energy work or this or that. And my mind can't wrap my around it. I can't wrap my mind around it, even though I can wrap around my mind that the Virgin Mary comes and speaks to me, right? It's just the way that we've been conditioned. But anything can be this portal, you know, because all of the creation is a miracle, right? You know, we're living this miracle, even when it's just sometimes so painful, you know, to experience.
Hi, thank you for what you shared. It's beautiful. My question had to do with the place that you talked about that you were attempting to achieve of know nothing, or what, I don't know what the word was that you used.
Non-duality. So there are these movements, especially, well, in Hinduism, Advaita Vedanta is known as the non-dual teachings. In Buddhism, there is the Dzogchen, which is again the teaching of the emptiness, of that which is prior to thought, that's prior to that's the core of consciousness, where there's nothing and where we don't exist. So personality disappears, the creation isn't what's important, it's what's prior to that, and to live from there, you know?
Oh, okay. Thank you. So the question was that when you had the experience with the Divine Mother, is that where you go now, or do you still visit the know nothing place?
The know nothing place is available, but you know, but you know, it's what I like to say is, especially to some of my friends who are strict non-dualists, and that teaching is a beautiful teaching because there's such incredible peace there, because there's no us to rest in. But when we die, we will be permanently in non-duality, unless you believe in reincarnation, which I don't really know. But so it's like, while we're here, why not live in the creation, you know, and live through, they're two sides of the same coin. You know, the creation and the emptiness are the same. It's just we as conscious beings are looking at them as two different things when they're really the same. How could they be different, right? How could they ever be different?
So when you meditate, you go to the Divine Mother mostly?
It's different, you know, there's an infinite number of expanded states, you know, and in so many different traditions, like even in the Christian tradition, there are all the saints. They all embody different qualities of that consciousness, right? And the emptiness is just another quality. And so it's a variety. Sometimes, you know, it's not like, even if that is accessible to me, it's not like I am perfectly experiencing or manifesting that all the time. But the beautiful thing is that it is there and accessible almost all the time, yeah, which gives great peace. You're welcome.
I'm also an acupuncturist, and I'm curious, since acupuncture is energy medicine, if you have anything to say about how your experience with the Divine Mother, or the idea that energy is flowing through everything in the daffodils. And that's what I heard you say, is that, you know, as life manifests, you can find this portal. I'm just curious if that perspective, in retrospect, influenced your thoughts about acupuncture.
It's influenced my thoughts about healing in general, you know, and about really listening to nature and finding the teaching in the stillness of nature. And, you know, in acupuncture sessions, you often go to this place of deep stillness, right? And rest, where it's almost like we're syncing with these still points of nature. Even if we tune into what's here in the room right now, you know, there's a level of stillness. And to meet that level of stillness where it is, rather than trying to make it something other than what it is. So what I would say is in a session, I would try and really listen to the tides in the room, you know, to listen to the rhythm in the room, and to then work from there. So what it would do is it would give me a different way of seeing the person. You know, it would be, okay, where in this moment how do I want to work with them in this particular moment? What interests me about the client or the patient right in this moment? And it may be totally different than what my plan was for when they came in. And so then having the courage, because I'm scared to do it sometimes, to really, you know, okay, I'm going to really work from right here. And that's not what my plan is. It may go against what my rationality says, but that by tuning into nature and working from there, that's how it's really influenced my work. And it can affect something like a needle depth. You know, how deep do you needle someone? What thickness of needle do you use? You know, do you tonify it or not? How do you position them? You know, it's really opening up to what is the whole room asking when you're doing work with someone.
And are we good? Continue to take questions here from the room. I just want to let people know, if you're on Zoom, that if you have a question, you can raise your hand. There's a little button you can click, or you can type your question into the Q&A. If you raise your hand, Joe will bring you on screen, and KD has his computer here, so he'll be able to see you and talk with you and answer your question. So feel free to go ahead and raise your hand or type a question in the Q&A. Other questions here?
Thank you, KD, for sharing your experiences and your knowledge with us. I was moved by what you said about practices sometimes becoming very stale and trying to find freshness, and that being a pathway to the divine. And I wanted to know if you could share with us, how do you try to do that in your experience?
Well, thanks so much, Brother David. Milburn is my best friend from college, so I've known him for decades, and thank you so much for coming today. And I feel that it is so important, you know, like how does one do yoga from this moment? You know, what is yoga asking me to do in this moment, rather than what a class is telling me to do, you know? With that question, how does one speak in this moment that can bring deeper intimacy? You know, I'm pretty nervous today and also pretty emotional, as you can see. So it's within that, how does one speak to the group, you know, from a place that really meets what's available here. So it's that. It's in how we speak. It's in how we move. It's in how we touch. And, you know, if I'm in Ukraine right now, what it takes to be healthy there is very different than what it takes to be healthy in a room like this. Or if I'm lying on the beach in the Caribbean. So health is something that asks something different from us moment to moment. From when we're in at work to the moment when we walk out the door from work, health asks something different. And so it's that is that's the ultimate practice. It's the practice of no practice. It's the practice of listening to nature in each moment. And that's the way, you know, and that's what I try to practice, of course, with and I'm you know, it's a challenge for all of us.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
My name is Susan. Had no idea that I was going to be here today. I'm going to talk with my eyes closed so I can really focus on the importance of that. I cannot believe I'm sitting in the room today. All last week, I've been having visions of my mother and missing her in that guttural way when I'm a little girl and just missing my mother. Her name is Mary. And she was adorable and she had soft skin. And I can still, when I think about it, feel my face on her arm, that coolness of my mother's arm. Mary, again, I feel her in the room right now and she's just loving all of us. So for the week, it's just been that way. Last night, especially, for some reason, I was watching this TV show that I watched when I was younger and reminded me of my mother. And on purpose, so I can feel my mother, on purpose, so I could feel the ache of my mother, if you will. And in a fetal position, almost just thinking about that 12-year-old little girl that I was, just missing my mother, waiting for her coming from bingo, walking in the door of mommy's home. So I did that to myself on purpose. I opened my emails today, and here I am sitting in a room talking about beloved Mother Mary. Mother Mary, besides my mother, is with me always and works with me very closely with my clients as I'm a medium. And she comes to me as this joyful, laughing, young, fabulous woman that wears a pair of khakis and a white button-down shirt and a pair of tennis shoes. She says their robes get heavy. And my clients love when I say that. She's not always stepping on a snake. Sometimes she's running down a meadow to meet my clients' loved ones. How unbelievably beautiful your message was today. So personal and heartfelt, nervous. I would never know it. I think you're sitting here just for me. Thank you. I'm blessed by your presence.
And she is sitting here through me for all of us and through all of us.
Oh, okay. In a way, in a way, it can be an undertaking with pure love and joy, but very good. You got me.
Any other questions here? Do we have questions, Joe, on Zoom?
I don't know if she's able to come on. Kate, can you click on join as panelist? Her hand went up about an hour ago, so she might have wandered off. I don't think we can get her at this point. So I would see if there are any more from the group. You think of any?
And if not, we are going to close with another song, sort of chant sort of song.
Good.
So it seems like we're about complete. Oh,
I get confused with Divine Mother, Mother Mary of Jesus, and then of course there's Mary Magdalene. And so when you say Divine Mother, you're speaking of the energy of Divine Mother?
Yes, I'm speaking of all of the archetypes of the mother. As I said, for whatever reason, it's another story for another time, but where my connection with the Virgin Mary came from, like I had no idea when I walked past that photo, it was just like, oh, that's the Virgin Mary. Like, it isn't like I thought about her before. You know, I liked the idea of the Virgin Mary, but it was nothing that I thought I had a personal relationship with until that moment. And whatever it was, And there's a story I related a little bit to Patricia about with that, as I was playing in the beginning, The Sound of Music, right? Which came out with Julie Andrews when I was 6 years old. And who was it about? A girl named Maria, who was fleeing the Nazis, like my family had to flee the Nazis, who was basking in the joy of nature and the sound of music, right? Is that where it came from? This is what, so it's wherever that love, wherever that, that we can connect with that is, and it doesn't matter. Joe Campbell always says, to go back to your own religion if you're seeking for a place to begin to work with archetypes and things, because it's just quote unquote drummed into us from when we're really young. So there's some kind of structure for it then, that if you're having trouble, that's a good place to go. And and I really didn't listen to that until it listened to me, but that's why. So if you relate to if you grew up with the Virgin Mary as being something important, there's a good chance there'll be something there that relates to it, whether it was your mom's devotion to her or whatever. But it's all of these, the Shekhinah, Kali Ma, or your mom. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And what a beautiful song, right? A very touching song. And that was about his mother, right? That was not about the Virgin Mary, even though many of us might have thought that,
So for those of you on Zoom, we're talking about the Beatles song about Mother Mary. So that's what it. Okay, so KD, would you like to close us with a song?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you about that after, because there'll be more in the next few weeks. Oh, I love you, don't you know? Do you feel my heart song grow? You're my one and only love, yes, it's you. Oh, I love you. Hold my hand, come dance with me. Feel my kisses set you free. You're the one I love, yes, it's true. Oh, I love you. You're my joy, you're my surprise. Let me gaze deep in your eyes. You're the only one I love, yes, it's you. Oh, I love you. You're my love, my soul's desire. Feel the love, my heart's on fire. You're the one I love, yes, it's you. Oh, I love you. Oh, 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 oh. Come along and take my hand. Come with me to the love sweet land. Oh, I'm so in love, and it's you. I love, love, love you. Tears of joy weep from the sky. Hear the raindrops sing, I love you. Angels chant and babies smile. Hear me sing how I love, love, love you. Come and kiss me here right now. Did you miss me? Yes, I love you. Kings and queens, they dance and bow to our love. Yes, I love, love, love you. You're so precious, you're divine. You're my sacred love, sweet wine. You're my heart, my soul, my love. Yes, it's you. I love, love, love you. Oh, 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 oh.
Thank you. So before we have a collective song here, just share with us what's coming up for you next.
So, well, I have, which you can pick up afterward, and I'll show this for people online. My card is the love transmission, so that's the website. And I don't know if people can pick this up at all online from what we have right here, but you can use the QR code. I'm doing some, actually, I don't know if I held that up for long enough, but you can find it at thelovetransmission.com. So on Monday nights, my wife Jody and I, we offer meditation at Center City Breed downtown, which is between Broad and 15th on Federal. And also through Jeff Carrera's Mystery School. If you looked up jeffcarrera.com, there's a number of classes that I offer there. And we're trying to put together a trip to Italy, to Padua, to the Scrovini Chapel, where Giotto painted in dedication of the Divine Mother in the fall. And so, you know, what we'll do is we'll visit holy sites. If we're lucky, I'll get to play in the Scrovini Chapel. There's hot springs in that area, and we're going to do basically a Mary tour of northern Italy. It's right near Venice, just within 20 miles of Venice. So if you take a card, it'll direct you to the site where you can take a look at that. I'm also putting together a blessings of the babies where I'm getting mothers to bring their babies so we can be in that energy and play music and take some learning that we can from the babies. And I'm just looking, I'm not very organized with this kind of stuff. But, oh, and also I'm trying to put together a nonprofit for the love transmission where we could give love transmissions over Zoom to people free. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that, you know, to build it up as a nonprofit. So those are some of the things in the process. The last thing is there's also a book called Vow about devotion to the Divine Mother that I'm working on right now. And hopefully that'll be out in the next year. So thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, well, thank you. So shall we close with one of the
Sure.
those two songs?
So this song, you can sing along. The song is called I Do. And so the verse is, you're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. And I'll sing something then in between and you can sing back to me, you're my queen and I love you. Okay? So I'll sing the first one and then you can sing it after me. You're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. My queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. You're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do, I do. My queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. There is nothing more than you. Yes, it's true, it's true, it's true. Queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do. In my heart, I am so true. I'm forever loving you. You're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. I am so in love with you. Yes, it's true, it's true, it's true. Yes, I do, I do, I do. You're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. My queen, I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. You're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do. You're my queen and I love you. Yes, I do, I do, I do.
Well, thank you, KD. It has been a joy to have you with us, and your spirit is so rich, and it's just been wonderful. It's
Thank you,
been
John.
wonderful.
Thank you for
you.
inviting.
And
Thank you,
thanks
Patricia.
for giving credit to my my
Your
personal
good
pick
taste.
of an
Your
icon.
good taste.
Actually, I came to that because I spent some time in Mexico, and actually that's the Virgin of Guadalupe. And every home you go into in Mexico has not just a picture, often a huge painting of the Virgin of Guadalupe. So he called it the Elvis impersonation. I want to say thank you very much. But I love it. Since my visit there and staying with some people in their homes, I came to appreciate that. But this has been wonderful and such a joy, and we have truly kind of felt in the presence of the Divine Mother. I have, and I think all of us here. So we encourage you to come up and talk with KD and pick up one of the cards and get to know more about some of the work he's doing. And if you have any questions, he'll be happy to talk with you about them. And remember, we have some wonderful things coming up, so be sure and mark your calendar. Thanks again to Patricia, who's always our number one person we count on for interviewing and helping. Thanks for Ken, who's our technical person. And thanks to Cindy and others for our refreshments. So it's been a great time together, and you're welcome. So hang around and eat the refreshments, and we'll see you again soon. Love to all.